Hey guys, Elliot here from Lunarch Studios, and today I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a developer update to explain some of the things we've been working on and some of the things that are coming soon. So first thing I wanted to talk about is event mode. Event mode is a new feature that we added a couple of weeks ago, and the idea is every Friday we're putting together a different sort of unique and strange mode that you can play against other players in an unranked auto-matched game. And so the first week we tried the 20 supply of all of the one-of units, and then we tried no rush mode, and last Friday we did the enhanced base set abilities where the Animus, Blastforge, and Conduit each got a little bit of an upgrade. And they were a lot of fun. We got lots of great feedback, but I wanted to explain a little bit about what we have in mind for event mode and what we ultimately want event mode to be. Right now it's just something that we're kind of testing out. It's very scrappy, it's very low effort from us. We're not really trying to polish everything up, and so some things might come through a little bit untested, but it's all experimental. Ultimately we don't really know what event mode is going to be, but the idea is for it to be an umbrella around all kinds of different things. All kinds of different experiences. So maybe more casual experiences that are sort of just fun and friendly modes that people can try and not take that seriously, maybe analogous to something like a Hearthstone Tavern Brawl. But also, we want to have things like tournaments and war zones and something like a sit and go where there's a more competitive nature, and it could be that an event runs only for an hour and there could be a leaderboard and the winner could get a prize and stuff like that, or there could be a season of different events, and every time you play in events you gain points, and you try and earn your way to certain rewards, something like the Path of Exile event season, if you guys are familiar with that game. So there are all kinds of different ways that events can go, and there could be a mix and match of different things, but ultimately we want to have a schedule of different events that are sort of running automatically, different times of the day, all kinds of different modes, different things, fun things to do that will give players both interesting things to try as well as reasons to play at specific times or participate in different things. So that's events. We're still very much, it's a work in progress. We're trying different things, and we're looking at, we want your feedback to see in which direction we should take it. So sometime later this week, we are going to put out a survey. It will have some questions on events. If you guys have ideas for events or you really liked one of the events that we ran. Another thing to point out is we are doing encores of all the Friday night events on Tuesdays. So I think normally we're going to run the events for something like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. on a Friday until 2 a.m. Eastern time. And we want to run the same event on Tuesday. So this Tuesday at 4 p.m. we are going to be running the enhanced base set event again. And so this is the event where Blastforge can block, Conduit you can click it to sell it, and Animus you can click it to upgrade your drones to Immolites. So it was a lot of fun. I played a few games in it. They're pretty wacky. So we're going to be doing that again. It will be online Tuesday 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out or you want to play again, we'll do it again on Tuesday. And eventually, there's not necessarily always going to be one event per week. They may be running for a few hours at a time, maybe at a few different times per week, and we will eventually have a schedule of them up. But it's sort of work in progress. So that's events. The next thing is the balance and new units and the patch that we have been working on. With Prismata Alpha World Championship and, of course, the Masters League Finals now done, we think it's probably a good time to put out a patch real soon. And we've been looking at literally every unit in the game. We have we've received so much feedback, but also we're trying to firm up some of the unit designs because we're working on campaign missions, and we don't want necessarily to make, say, a very tight, concise, elaborate puzzle that relies crucially on the balancing of a current unit that might be changing in the future, because then either we have to remake the puzzle if we nerf or buff a unit, or we have to have different balancing between the units in the single-player mode and the multiplayer mode, which some games have actually done. Notably, the StarCraft 2 series, they actually did that. We don't necessarily want to do that if we can avoid it, because it confuses players and makes multiplayer more difficult to transition to. So we're trying to firm up as many of the unit designs as we can to sort of think, well, are we ever going to change a unit like, I don't know, Shredder? Or can we just finalize it and say it's good enough, we're happy with it, let's just keep it the way it is and not worry about changing it. And on the other hand, we have many other units that are likely going to get still many rounds of changes or adjustments until we zero in on that perfect, or as close to perfect as possible, design for them. So let's go over some of the units. So I'm not going to give out a full patch list today, but I do want to talk about some of the things we have been experimenting with and what you can expect to see in the next patch. So Savior, Ferritin, Sack, and Lance-Tooth were the last 3 units we released, and they've all been very positively received. Savior in particular, everybody seems to really like it. A lot of players are very happy with the design. I think it's one of the more fun units. We have had some players express concerns that they think getting the first Savior is too powerful. So we've been looking at adjustments to the unit that will make up for that. Maybe reducing its build time, increasing its cost, those types of things, but not changing the actual unit abilities, which we think are pretty cool. Ferritin, Sack, and Lance-Tooth, they might both get a small buff because it turns out, looking at the stats, they've come out a bit on the weak side, so we might try buffing them both. Doomed Mech is getting a 1 gold nerf, which everybody thought... we asked this question on the survey, and everybody thought the Doomed Mech deserved a 1 gold nerf, so we're probably going to do that. Thorium Dynamo, a lot of players have been feeling that it's too strong and breach proof, so we're likely going to reduce its HP, but we're very happy with the design, so we don't want to change the unit too much. Grenade Mech, we've got a lot of feedback on Grenade Mech, so we asked people whether they like the new Grenade Mech, the click to produce 3 pixies, or whether they prefer the old click for 2. And, you know, it was almost unanimous, like almost all players, a vast majority of players prefer the click for 3, so the current Grenade Mech. However, some other players also thought it was a little bit too strong, a little bit too powerful and influential, so we're looking at modifications that will pull it back just a little bit, but without nerfing the ability or making it not as interesting a unit as it is now. So maybe something like 1 more gold to the cost, or 1 more gold to the click ability cost. That's kind of what we're looking at, but just very small nerf. What else? Venge Cannon. So we've had a lot of players say that now that Venge Cannon has been changed, it's much stronger to go for a Venge all-in, and that's kind of part of our intention for Venge's design. But we also noticed that the Venge all-ins actually tend to be losing more than they're winning, at least looking at our stats. We see things like, you know, in high-level play, Player 2 seems to get more Venge Cannons than Player 1, but Player 1 actually wins more often than Player 2 does. So we actually think players are being a bit too eager to go all in with the Venge Cannons, and we're gonna wait and see after things level out a little bit more whether Venge needs any adjustments. But right now it seems like players still haven't figured out the exact optimal way to use the unit, so we're gonna wait a little bit longer. Let's see, some other units. Tia, Windsor, Zamora, we're looking at small adjustments to those just to pull them back a little bit. Centrifuge, we're going to be reducing the amount of gold it gives you just to change that gold to tech ratio that it provides in order to make getting a super early centrifuge less good. And so we may end up rebalancing the cost of the unit, but that's the direction that we're looking to go with it. Thunderhead, we're going to make early Thunderheads a bit less strong. Right now, there are many games in which the best time to get Thunderhead is just as early as possible. And that's not the intention of the unit's design. The intention is sort of buy it when it does the most good for you defensively. And so that's, you know, we're probably going to reduce its attack and maybe even increase its HP or make it better defensively. But, you know, we want to shift it to more of a defensive type of unit rather than a thing that you rush out early. So Thunderhead will be getting a change. Deadeye. So Deadeye, it's been through so many changes, and we really like the current Deadeye, but we also think that we can get more value design-wise by splitting it into 2 different units. So the current plan, and this is what we've been testing, and we're reasonably happy with it, is change the existing Deadeye to have an ability that, instead of sniping an opponent's drone, say, gives you 3 gold when you click it, or something of that nature. Which is, you know, worth about the same as sniping a drone, but isn't drone sniping. And then, so that will be a new unit, you know, some kind of like mega militia, and it will have all of the aspects of the current Deadeye. You know, it'll be an upgrade for a steel splitter. You'll have to pay 2 blue for it, just sort of like the current Deadeye, because we like that design. And then we will move drone sniping to a different unit, and it may just be something very similar to one of the very old Deadeyes, except we will have stamina on it, so as to not lead to as much drawishness or degeneracy as the old Deadeyes did. So that's the current plan with Deadeye, or at least what we have been exploring in our Prismata design lab for now. So no confirmation on final stats of anything in the next patch, but that's sort of what we're thinking about and what we've been playing around with, testing, and literally we have been going through every unit in the game. So if you have any thoughts on any of those things, I'm always eager to have that conversation with anybody who wants to talk to us about the unit design or balance, or has ideas for improving the design of the units. Always happy to hear about that. So the next major topic I wanted to discuss is the Prismata metagame. So stuff like Arena, the Armory, the Black Lab, and changes that we have in store for that. And we do have lots of changes in store for every aspect of it. So before I talk about the exact changes, one question that we get asked a lot is, why don't we just copy existing systems? Why does it have to be so complicated? Why can't you just open packs or something like that? And the answer is really that because Prismata's business model is different, we're not a pay-to-win game. We're not a game where you have to collect parts or upgrade stuff or customize loadouts or build decks or anything like that. So a lot of the traditional systems in these free-to-play games are necessarily a bit different than what we need for Prismata. So we are trying to find our own system that works for Prismata and how Prismata works, and we're trying to just do the best for our game. And copying other systems, it might work if our game and our business model was a copy of theirs, but it isn't. So we do have to do things a little bit differently. But we are looking at a lot of changes. So first of all, let me talk about Arena. So we are going to be getting rid of Arena runs, getting rid of Arena tickets, and, well, changing them around so that instead you'll just have to play, and then after you get a few wins, you get a box, you click it once, you'll get some prizes, and that's it. So we're going to be drastically simplifying Arena, sort of gutting the Arena ticket system. We're going to be renaming it to just something simple like ranked play, because we've actually had players who say, well, where's 1v1 ranked play? I can't find it, because they don't know that it's called the Arena. So that will be simplified. If you really liked going on those long streaks or having crazy Arena runs, let us know, because we might be adding in some streak bonuses or something that scratches that itch but isn't the current Arena system. Because the current Arena system, we just find that the benefits it provides in excitement or how much fun it is to go on a long run are not worth the complexity. And the other thing we found was that Arena tickets, the players who were buying the most Arena tickets were actually the highest players on the ladder. And the reason was because, I mean, most players go 50-50 in their Arena games, so the value of a ticket is a certain amount. But if you're one of these players who's so good that, you actually have a 70% win rate on the ladder, because there's not that many other players who are as good as you are, if you're one of those players, Arena tickets are actually worth a whole lot more to you than they are to other people. So we saw that the players at the top of the ladder were actually the ones that were most interested in Arena tickets, and nobody else really cared. So that's one of the motivations for the changes that we are making. But mostly we just want to simplify things, make things cleaner. Armory. So the Armory, we're actually mostly happy with the design. We don't want to make too many big changes. One thing we do want to do is merge the level 3 and level 4 rewards into a single level of rarity. So right now in the Armory, you see 4 different rarities. You see the basic, exotic, epic, and mythic rarities. And we're just going to change it to basic, rare, and mythic. So we want to keep it simple. The names of different rarities are confusing people. So it's just going to be basic, rare, mythic. We found that people didn't really notice any difference between level 3s and level 4s anyway. So we figured, why not make it simple? And so the prizes at the top of the Armory, you'll see 2 level 1s, 4 level 2s, and 2 level 3s instead of the current 2-2-2-2 for the 4 different levels. So it'll make it easier to find a level 2 that you want when you're in the Armory. And we'll need to adjust the pricing and the sort of premium bonuses a little bit just to compensate for the fact that there will be 3 different classes of rewards that you can get instead of 4. But we're not planning on buffing or nerfing the Armory. We're going to keep it about the same in terms of balance, but we're just going to be making that small adjustment. So I hope that is met with approval from you guys. It's not meant to be anything crazy. The Black Lab. So the Black Lab, we got a lot of feedback. A lot of players seemed very disappointed if they... Well, there are 2 things that made players very upset. One is if they, spent a long time building up this bar, got a black card, and then got nothing for it. That made people mad. And what made people even more mad than that is if they paid a whole lot of shards to flip something and still got nothing. So we're going to be adjusting. We're going to be well, making some quite sweeping changes to the Black Lab, but the end result will be that you will not be able to leave empty-handed. So that's the most important thing. And so the reward you get, it might not necessarily be a high-tier reward. You might get, say, a level 3 skin as a consolation prize or something like that. But you'll always get something every time you go to the Black Lab. And there will be some changes associated with that. I'm not going to announce it right now, but that will be coming very soon. So what else? Daily bonus. The daily bonus, well, people really like it. We've actually been thinking about increasing it a little bit, or adding like a double bonus on the weekend, or an extra weekend bonus, or something like that. So look forward to that. There will be some kind of change there. We're not really sure exactly which variation, but we're looking at doing that. Additionally, there is going to be a reset of all the rewards. Oh, and before I mention the reset, I should mention that we are going to be giving away a bunch of black cards to all of the players, sort of commensurate with how much attack in total that they have earned over their careers in the armory before we added black cards. So we are going to give people more black cards just so that they can play around and experience going to the Black Lab a bit more. But we're going to do that after we make the current round of changes to the Black Lab. So we were hoping to give out the black cards, kind of right away as soon as Black Lab went live, and then everybody said, "Oh, Black Lab sucks. The Black Lab, it's not good. You need to make changes." And so, we heard all that feedback, and basically we agree. So we're going to make the changes, and then we're going to give everybody black cards, because we don't want people to feel too disappointed. But all that said, there will be a giant reset of absolutely everything in terms of the cosmetics and collectibles, and that will be essentially after we are happy with everything. So, towards the end of the alpha, or if after the next round of changes everything seems good and we're super happy with everything, then we'll just do it then. But if we're going to make more changes, then we will make those further changes before doing a reset. And then hopefully at the end of everything we will do one reset, and it will be the last reset, and there will be no more after that. So that is the goal. And when I say a reset, what I mean is anybody who paid into Prismata, or was a Kickstarter supporter, or bought stuff in the store, you'll get all those shards back. They'll go into your account. Players who played on the ladder or did the daily bonuses and earned the shards or the power cores, you get those back as well. So basically everything that you spent, you get back, and it'll get credited to your account, but all of the stuff you unlocked will get wiped. So that's what the reset means, and it gives you a second chance to spend all those shards, if you decide you want to change what you spend them on or whatever. So, but it's not going to hurt anybody's progress. So that's our plans for the metagame, the sort of Arena Armory Black Lab. Let me talk about a few more things that are coming in the future. So, of course, the launch on Steam, that is pending the tutorial, which is a big project for us right now, and it will be integrated with a single-player campaign. So the tutorial will be kind of like the first chapter of the campaign, but we may release it without the narrative part, the cutscenes and stuff like that. So it's just the missions. But there will be a tutorial that'll have little pointy-clicky tips. So we're working on that. Once that is in there, and also the other new player experience, there'll be sort of a level-up experience where you can unlock different avatars and the different Prismata units. So once that's all in there, that will be when we move to have a beta on Steam and Steam Early Access. And also we're going to be advertising the game more heavily once we get up on Steam. So we applied for a grant from the Canadian Media Fund. They do a digital media, I think they call it marketing and promotion grant, which is kind of like it's like a cash advance that you can use to spend on advertising. And we could get, anywhere from, a $5 bill to several $100,000 that we would use to spend promoting the game. And so, we think we're in a favorable position to get quite a bit from them. So we will be looking to spend a lot advertising Prismata next year and really growing the audience. And that'll be something we are working towards. But once we have that tutorial and that new user experience in there, and it's really solid. So that is kind of our top priority at the moment. And going along with that, just a whole lot more polish to the game. The graphics and sound. We're working on a lot more in-game animations and flashy effects to improve the look in-game. Sound effects for everything, of course. And the cosmetics, we're going to improve them as well. We're going to have animated skins for the premium skins. We're going to fix that terrible emote menu. Lots of announcements forthcoming on that. But that's kind of what's in the pipeline, the to-do list for the next little while. And of course, the campaign, which is something we're always working on. So that's kind of how things are going for us. If you have any feedback on absolutely anything I've discussed today or anything else to do with Prismata at all, hit me up on Reddit or chat with me whenever. And last thing, reminder, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time to 2 a.m., we are running an encore of the event, which is the Enhanced Base Set Structures event, where your Conduit can be sold, your Blast Forge can block, and your Animus converts drones into Immolites. So that is all happening Tuesday, and if you didn't get a chance to come out to the last event, or you did and you liked it, we are going to be doing the encore. So that's all for now. As usual, talk to me if you have any feedback. There'll be a patch coming, events, more changes, and I guess I will see you guys on the ladder. Thanks for checking us out, and I will talk to you later.